Hey guys, I am sorry that this is going to be another free Britney video for those of you who are not as interested in that, and I apologize, my baby's gonna be talking in the background. But I'm a little fucking heated about what's going on right now. A little heated at TMZ, to be honest, and I will get into that. One thing that I forgot to add to last week's video, which I think is very important, is an alleged letter that Britney gave to a photographer a while ago. I forget exactly how long ago it was, if it was like this year or no, maybe it was back in 2008. Yeah, I feel like maybe it was back in 2008. She snuck a handwritten letter supposedly to this photographer who worked with her. And now with all of this coming out, he has released the letters. So people who know Britney's handwriting are saying that it looks like her handwriting, and what's in the letter makes perfect sense because it's exactly what people have been rumoring for years is a big reason why Britney went along with the conservatorship in the first place. So I'll read the letter as a side note, and then I'll begin my rant to TMZ. The letter states, quote, "After reading Kevin's article in People, I was amazed at how a lot of the focus was on Britney." Oh, and Britney, side note, Britney is writing this in third person. How a lot of the focus was on Britney, their mother, to sell a story for People magazine. It's hard to read some of this. Something of the focus being on Kevin. What happened to Britney was a year ago. Yes, this was 2008. And people need to get with the times. And as far as Kevin saying Britney divorced him, she was forced to by their lawyers because she went to visit him in New York and he wouldn't see her and the children. And her lawyers said if she doesn't divorce him, he's going to do it himself. Now, let me clarify a reason why I think this is Britney. One thing they say about fame is that you're kind of eternally frozen at the age that you became famous at. I believe the same personally for marriage. You kind of, if you haven't become an adult with a functioning brain before you get into this stuff, it's hard for you to continue to mature on just a very basic cognitive level, I believe. So we have to keep in mind that Britney's been famous from a very young age, and she blew up and became the most famous person in the world around the age of 17, 18. And Britney is very much, she can have her head in the clouds sometimes like a teenage girl would. So the way this is written with a lot of run-on sentences and sort of emotional sounds like Britney to me. It continues. So Kevin trying to play the innocent victim is hardly irrelevant. He left her and the babies. Her going on the mend partying 2 years ago has nothing to do with the situation now. She is a completely different person, and most of their fighting was done back then because of his problem waking and baking to marijuana at 5 in the morning. No one talks about these things because no one knows the truth. Her behavior when her children got taken away because of her locking herself in the bathroom is understandable, considering her friend at the door kept telling her the cops are leaving, don't worry, stay in the bathroom. She was lied to and set up. Her children were taken away and she did not spin out of control, which any mother would in those circumstances. Her next visit took a toll as well. She wasn't listening to her manager. He lost control, so he wanted to scare her. Now this year, Britney has been silenced to speak about anything that's really going on. The people controlling her life have made $3 million this year. And then there's a part that she has scribbled out, and it looks like something about if she speaks up, she is threatened. So she scribbled that out. And it continues. She would love for new eyes to see her situation, but if she brings it up, she's constantly threatened that conservators will take her kids away. So how long does this go on? as long as the people are getting paid and she has no rights, it could go on for a while, but it doesn't make it right at all. Again, that just sounds like Britney talking to me. Everyone is very quick to put a gloomy eye on Britney. Does anyone talk about Janet Jackson? And Janet Jackson is Britney's biggest, like, inspiration, so I can see her bringing that up. Does anyone talk about Janet Jackson, something her baby, giving her baby to her brother? Hopefully she won't do it with this child. Britney's given her brother a $2 million apartment. It says dollars apartment. Her mother an estate in Louisiana, and her mother a $4 million estate. I apologize, it's kind of written around it. A $4 million estate in Louisiana, and her father the best job in show business. She is a very giving person and would love to get the respect she deserves. So that's really heartbreaking, and I believe that it is her who wrote this, because a lot of people have discussed for years that they believe that her kids are being used as pawns against her. So Britney does not have full custody of her kids. Kevin does. She gets visits with them that the conservatorship, from my understanding, controls. And when she is good, she gets more visits with them. And if she pushes back, she's threatened with never being able to see them again. And this has been sort of leaked by several sources. Now I'm going to get into my fucking rant. So, Free Britney is big again. It's trending again. TMZ decides to comment and explain to the world that no, Britney is not being held hostage. She's fine. Okay. Listen, TMZ. Don't even fucking get me started with you. It's... Ugh. Nobody's claiming that she's being physically held hostage, you dumb motherfuckers. They are saying that she has no legal rights and no rights to make her own decisions. She does not have access to a cell phone or a car unless the conservatorship decides to give it to her. That's not freedom. She cannot vote. She cannot hire her own lawyer. She can't make any fucking decisions. She can't even spend her own money. No, she's not being physically held hostage. Thank you for the clarification. Let me just add a side note here, which is my real rant. I think TMZ is majorly to blame for this fucking situation, if you ask me. Being a new mother myself, I know how vulnerable I feel just being in my own home with just my husband. My husband can say the tiniest of little comments of not meaning anything bad at all, and I take it really bad because I've been very sensitive since I had my baby. I have never been sensitive before in my life. I have an icy little heart. Stuff doesn't bother me. I let it roll off my shoulders. But being postpartum is a very rough time. Britney was never given any fucking space when she had those babies. When she was pregnant and when she had those babies, TMZ and all of the other paparazzis in Hollywood or New York, wherever she was at the time, fucking hounded this poor girl while she was trying to just be a mother. Like, there's the infamous video of her walking out of a car and going into a shop and almost dropping her baby because she's surrounded by fucking paparazzi. And they catch it on film. And then she goes in the restaurant and starts crying. And they film it. And they release it. No one gave a shit about how Britney was doing then. All you guys did was take all these fucking videos of this poor, vulnerable new mother and blast it fucking everywhere. And talk about how crazy she was. I want any fucking one to imagine not even being a new parent, just on your own being hounded like that every fucking time you leave your house. And then add on top of that the hormonal change of going through a pregnancy and having a baby and breastfeeding, which Britney was, and then doing all of that in public, surrounded by hundreds of photographers every time you leave your house. She became a prisoner in her own fucking house. And then every time she wanted to just go out and have a nice little lunch with her babies, it was ruined by you assholes. You guys caused this fucking media storm. You guys caused her to go fucking off the deep end because she couldn't handle it anymore. I'm sorry, it was. It was the paparazzi and it was her crazy fucking management who was holding her hostage, who was making her feel helpless, who was making her feel like she couldn't handle any regular decisions on her own. She says in the documentary, Britney for the Record, which is in 2008, right around the VMAs, when they labeled it her comeback, she says, I have one baby on my hip, I'm nursing the other one. I look back and I think, what was I doing? Why didn't I up and go home to Louisiana? Because no one was giving you that fucking advice, Britney, because they wanted you out there. Every single fucking one of you wanted her out there. You wanted her in the streets. You wanted her to make more mistakes. You wanted her to drop her fucking baby. You wanted every moment of this because all of you were making tons of fucking money. Adnan, the paparazzi guy that she dated for a little while, admitted later that he made like $200,000 a year off of filming and taking pictures of Britney. Every single person that took a photo of Britney or that managed Britney in that probably 5-year span, really, that led up to all of that is responsible for this. I'm sorry, but you fucking are. So don't come at us, TMZ, and act like all of us with the Free Britney movement are the idiots. Don't come at us and act like we don't understand basic definitions. No one is claiming that she's being physically held hostage. We are saying that because of you and because of her management team, Britney does not have the basic human rights of any other person that I know. I'm sorry, I know some people who are blew way off the handle more than Britney ever did. And they're allowed to do way more shit than she hasn't been allowed to do in 12 years. And I think that's fucking ridiculous. TMZ, you can go shove it up your ass, shut the fuck up, and leave Britney alone. That's my opinion there. I apologize if that was not what you guys wanted to hear, but I'm really fucking fed up. I'm so fed up with TMZ and their coverage of Britney. I really am. Don't sit and act like, oh, well, let me explain to you guys when you're fucking responsible for this situation, in my opinion. That's disgusting. Ugh. Anywho, if you guys like this video, or if you care at all that this poor girl is just being like has been stripped of all of her rights and is threatened that her children are going to be taken away if she fights for them. And that's another thing. She's probably not going to actively fight back for her rights until at least one of her kids is 18 years old, because she's afraid she won't be able to see them again. And that's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. So if you guys care about her at all, care about this at all, please like this video, please comment, get more traffic in, and share it if you like to. That would be amazing. I am just so fed up with this poor girl's life. I really am. It's not just a passing phase. It's not just a passing trending hashtag. This poor girl has been living this for 12 years, and it needs to be done. It needs to be done. This is ridiculous. I'm gonna go take care of my baby, which poor Britney can't fucking do. I'll see you guys next week.